today, please? And it is Grace. And I know she can talk to you. Oh, yes.
Good morning. Is that loud enough? Okay, loud enough. I'll try to keep it up. Sunday, November 20th, 2022. This year is going by so fast. Grace. Grace blesses my life in every way. If I'm feeling overwhelmed or find myself in the midst of conflict, I don't need to struggle. Grace, the ceaseless activity of divine love, is mine to claim. This infinite resource of spirit carries me through even the most challenging circumstances. It is expressing in my life right now. I need not earn grace. It is never withheld. Just as water flows when I turn the tap, saying yes to grace is all I have to do for divine light, love, wisdom, and strength to flow freely to every part of my life. Centered in grace, I am at peace. My thinking is clear, and I possess ample understanding, compassion, and insight. Drawing from this divine gift, I bring harmony and joy to my relationships. I move forward with renewed confidence, energy, and efficiency. And the little verse today, he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for power is made perfect in weakness. 2 Corinthians 12th chapter, 9th verse. May you all have a blessed day.
So perfect for the day.
Yes. Now let's all read our statement of being with feeling on the very first page. God is all, both invisible and visible. One presence, one mind, one power is all. This one that is all is perfect life, perfect love, and perfect substance. I am individualized expression of God. I am ever one with this perfect life, perfect love, and perfect substance. And I
choir. That was a beautiful, beautiful song. And my mic's not working, so I'll just do the next thing. Hey, it's one of those days. You know, we all have them, don't we? And if you look at your bulletin, you'll see that the title of today's talk is an attitude of gratitude. Oh, there we go. Boy, I got a lot. And of course I chose that talk because on Thursday we will be celebrating Thanksgiving. But you know, it doesn't have to be Thanksgiving to have an attitude of gratitude. And we can live every day with an attitude of gratitude. And of course I have a talk planned, and of course I'm going to go off script because that's what I do. And I have a little ritual that I follow on a daily basis, and I read the Daily Word, and I also read the Science of Mind magazine. And today when I read the Science of Mind magazine, because the other thing that's been, and I know it's probably been heavy on a lot of people's hearts this week, is our loss of Tony Camilletti. And so I've been thinking a lot about Tony, and I've been thinking a lot about gratitude. And when I read today's message from the Science of Mind, the title is kind of cute. It's Best If Used Before Expiration Date. And the author of this article talks about, he limits himself to 1 cup of coffee a day. And so on this particular morning, he got up and he made his cup and got his cream out of the refrigerator and poured the cream in, you know, with expectation, and it all curdled and floated to the top of the cup. So there went his 1 cup of coffee, right? And he checked out the expiration date on the box, and it was a few days, several days, because I don't really watch the expiration dates too much. I mean, I do, but that's what you get a good deal on it when it's almost at its expiration date, right? So, what's wrong with that? Anyway, he went on to say, and I'm going to read this to you, because I try to look for the perfect metaphor in every disappointing situation. In other words, make it a learning opportunity. I had an epiphany. Everything that exists has an expiration date. Even if we can't see it boldly printed on the label, and this includes our bodies, our relationships, our jobs, our homes, and even our planet. Everything that is will expire one day. Done, gone, kaput. And knowing that this day will expire at midnight, I share my epiphany with you, not to be a downer, but as a waker-upper. Understanding that all things have an expiration date, how can you best appreciate and enjoy the blessings contained within this day before it expires? Suddenly, wake up and smell the coffee has a whole new meaning, right? And I just thought that was so appropriate for what I wanted to talk to you about today. And as I said, I've been thinking about Tony a lot, so I'm skipping to a bit of what I was going to talk about. Because it was just a week ago today that standing here was our beloved Tony Camilletti. And with his beautiful voice, and not too long ago, he did a great concert for us, and people were dancing in the aisles. Who would that have been? And Tony's passing was so sudden. It took took us so totally aware. I mean, I shared with you that we lost Mike's mom, who was 97. We know that people in their 90s are, you know, they're on the later edge of their life, right? But we still don't ever want to lose them, but we know it's going to happen, so we're a little more prepared. And we also lost one of Mike's youngest sisters, Marilyn. And Marilyn was only in her early 60s, but she had cancer. And too often, people with cancer, we know, aren't going to be with us as long as someone who doesn't have that illness. So even though Marilyn was young, we had literally years to prepare for the fact that she wasn't going to live to be 97. But when someone passes, like Tony did, who, I mean, he was, I don't know how old Tony was, to be quite honest, but he was young, probably younger than me.
66.
66? To me, that's young. And he looked to be physically fit. I mean, he never complained. He didn't have any known illnesses that I was aware of. So when I received a call on Monday night that Tony had passed, I was just completely taken aback. And so I started thinking about it, and I'm so grateful that Connie took the time, and we were here before the service started. Connie had put together a compilation of some of Tony's songs for us that we were listening to before the service started. And I noticed that this, and I went back and listened to the last week's service, last Sunday's service when Tony sang, and I noticed one of the things that Tony had told me, and he may have shared this with you, is that he always chose songs that had an uplifting message. And that was his criteria. It didn't matter if they were upbeat or slower, just the message that songs gave. And that was one of the things I loved about Tony, was that he was always looking for the good and looking to share not only his beautiful voice, but a beautiful message with that voice. And so last week he sang one song, and I looked at the lyrics. I'm a lyric person. And it says, if we all sing one song of love, one song of peace, one song to make all our troubles cease. One hymn, one theme, one hope, one dream. Imagine what tomorrow would bring. And I heard those words, imagine what tomorrow would bring. And little did Tony know what tomorrow would bring for him. Tomorrow would bring a time for him to make his transition from this physical form into spirit. And that brings me back to my attitude of gratitude. Because how would you rather leave this physical form? Having been doing something you love, sharing a positive message with people that you have come to care for and love, or complaining and grumbling and being all upset because it's cold outside, or whatever. Living with an attitude of gratitude is going to make every day the best day. Because, you know, I just did a prayer class, And the song that the choir just sang, when I pray, and I'm praying right here, right now, because every thought is a prayer. You've heard that song or saying or whatever it comes from. And we get to the point, and I think that's what drew me to unity and what kept me with unity and what has me here speaking to you, is that what I have learned through these teachings was first to become aware of my thoughts. Because so many of us, a lot of people that don't follow the philosophies that we follow, don't even pay attention to what they're thinking. And when I started paying attention to what I was thinking, what I discovered is I didn't like too many of the things I was telling myself about myself. And that's one of the biggest discoveries we can come to. Because the way we speak to ourselves in our most private thoughts impacts our lives. Those thoughts are the ones that either give us an attitude of gratitude or something less desirable. So we start by paying attention to what we're thinking, what we're saying to ourselves, what we're telling ourselves about our own self, and the stories that we tell ourselves about other people. Oh, when they do that, they did that so that it would make me feel blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I'm with you, Michelle. I hate blah, blah, blah. Because we tell ourselves these stories that somebody else's slip of the tongue, perhaps, was meant to hurt us, was meant to harm us, was meant to belittle us. But you know what? It's not that. It's not their slip of the tongue that was meant to harm us. It's all the thoughts we've been telling ourselves. And we said, oh, that person just affirmed what I already know to be true about me. And they saw it. Because we don't want anybody else to see what we think we see. Because we wear these masks. We wear these, we think it's Halloween all the time, and we can pretend to be something that we're not. Because our ego tells us we're not worth it. We're not worthy of, and this was one of my, talk about epiphanies. This is one of the epiphanies I had when I started ministerial school. I discovered that there was a part of Anita that said, who are you to think you have the right to stand up there and talk to these people about what it means to live a better life? Who are you? You're not worthy. And I had to look inside. I had to go deeper in prayer. I had to go to that place. Go deeper to that place where that divine perfection lives in each and every one of us. And I had to say, Anita, it lives in you too. And you have something to share because you've grown, you've changed, you have become a better person. Have I reached perfection? Far from it. And while I'm in this physical form, I'm probably not ever going to get there. But it's there. It's there. I mean, there is a reason that Jesus Christ is called our way shower. Because he shows us the way we can live. He shows us what we can do, what we can be. And that He's our model. He is what we aspire to. That old saying, what would Jesus do, is a good question to ask ourselves. When we're in a situation where we are triggered and we want to get angry. We want to get angry at someone else. We want to get angry at God. How many times have you heard someone say, well, I don't believe in God anymore. I'm angry at God. Because God allowed this to happen or that to happen. I'm sorry, that's not true. There's a presence and power that lives in, through, and as us and in the entire universe. It does not arbitrarily say, well, you get to live and you don't. Life is fragile. This human form that we temporarily occupy is not going to be here forever. However, that spirit that is each one of us, that individualized expression of the divine, will live forever. It has always been. It just is residing in you for a while. And we get the opportunity in this lifetime to discover that, to live from that. And when we discover that and start living from that, every day is Thanksgiving Day. Every day is a day to say, oh my gosh, isn't that snow beautiful? And it really is from in here. But we can find something to appreciate, and guess what? What we appreciate does what? It appreciates, it multiplies, it grows. You know, another thing that I thought about in developing this attitude of gratitude, how do we go about that? How do we go about working on living from an attitude of gratitude? And in this prayer class that I just completed, I came up with, I called it a daily spiritual practice. And I was thinking about that daily spiritual practice as I was preparing this talk. And the same daily spiritual practice that works for making your prayers more effective will work to help us live from an attitude of gratitude. Because what we do, what we think, affects how we speak, and that affects how we behave, right? And that becomes our life. So when we start the day by, I've heard it said, some people start the day saying, good God, it's morning. And other people start the day saying, good God, thank you, it's morning. You know, because you don't know if you're going to wake up tomorrow morning. I mean, when I lost my dad, I was, you know, I'm not trying to be a downer, folks. Like, everybody's going to lose somebody sometime. And we all do, and sometimes it's the least want to lose. And it's the most unexpected way. My dad was in his 70s, and we were in the process, he was going to move in with me. And I was in the process of setting up his bedroom in the new place, but he was still in his old house, but I talked to my dad every day because I was so excited that he was going to come in and live with me because he was a good dad. You know, he raised his two girls. My mom passed suddenly too. My mom was only 40. Came home from school, Mom was asleep on the couch. Couldn't wake her up. 40 years old, gone. So my dad raised two girls who were 11 and 12 years old. And he did a pretty darn good job. And then, so I was going to, kind of pay him back. He was going to come live with me. And I called him one morning. And he didn't answer the phone. So I thought, maybe he went and played golf. My dad was an avid golfer. I said, I'll just check back with him later. Called him back later. He didn't answer the phone. Now, there were no cell phones at this point in time. But I called multiple times after that, and he didn't answer the phone. And I knew something was wrong. So, it was discovered that my dad had passed in his sleep. And so then I wandered around the bedroom that I had just outfitted for him and cried. Because that's not the way it was supposed to be. We don't know. We just don't know. And that's why every day, if you have people in your life that you care about, God, tell them. And don't just tell them once. Tell them all the time. Tell them how much you care. Tell them how much you love them. Every time Mike walks out the door, it is law in my house. You do not walk out the door without a kiss. I am sorry. It's just not happening. Because sometimes somebody walks out the door and they don't walk back in. I don't expect that to happen, but I don't ever want to look back with regret. Oh, if only I had. You don't have to look back with regret if you live your life with an attitude of gratitude. I am so grateful for this day. This is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Can you do that? You can. You can quit complaining about what hurts and start focusing on the good. You can look for the good, and guess what? You're going to find it. You can come up with and you can follow a daily spiritual practice. My suggestion is 4 parts. Sometime during your day, I suggest you meditate. This can be part of a prayer practice, because if you follow Unity's 5-step prayer process, meditation is right in the middle of that. So you can meditate. It is recommended that you meditate twice a day for 30 minutes each, if you can. And you know what? Whether it's a walking meditation, whether it's yoga, whether it's just focused awareness, where you just focus on your breathing, where it's a light meditation, where you feel the light move through each part of your body, whether Roseanne shared with Mike a beautiful meditation, especially if you're encountering some physical challenges. where you visualize your own body sitting next to you, and you look at every part of it, and you bless every part of it, and you see it as whole and healthy. And I just think that's a wonderful meditation. There's so many choices. And guess what? There is no wrong way to pray and no wrong way to meditate. It's just like Nike says, just do it. And the second part is introspection. And that's looking within. That's discovering that the things you were saying to yourself aren't very nice. The stories you're telling yourself about what your boss has got going on at work are maybe a little off. When you're trying to say, well, I know what they're thinking, maybe you don't. So there's a little bit of introspection, and one way to do that is by journaling. I have been a heavy-duty journaler since I started the Mastermind Goal Achievers Journal back in the 80s. And I still have too many of them stored in my basement that I haven't looked at in 20 years. But journaling is a great way to do it. If you don't really like to write, I mean, you can, and you have a trusted person you can talk to who will listen. I'm not asking you, you don't need advice from somebody else. But sometimes you just need to get it out. And so if you've got somebody like that, it's good to talk. But do that introspection. Go deeper. Like they said in the song, go deeper. Find that oneness inside you. Find that Christ self, that spirit. And then education is the third suggestion. And education is take a class. Read a book. I'm a huge fan of Eric Butterworth, Marianne Williamson, Wayne Dyer. There are so many wonderful books and writers out there. If you go to unity.org, you'll get a ton of good choices there. Great Christmas present to give someone. Books are so educational, but if you don't like to read, guess what? They make audiobooks. And if you don't want to buy one, guess what? The library's free! My goodness, how cool is that? And then there's this newfangled thing called podcast. And there's a zillion of them out there, and most of those are free. So there are lots of choices. I love to learn. Learning keeps us young, keeps our thoughts fresh. And then the last thing is inspiration. And music, like the music Tony would sing to us, is so inspirational, or not. There's good music out there with wonderful lyrics, and then there's other kinds. And you get to choose what channel you listen to. And you can, and you know, with technology today, we make these playlists. And you can just listen to all the stuff you want to listen to. And you don't have to listen to something else. And you can listen to it right from your, most 12-year-olds and younger have phones these days. So I'm just saying there's not a whole lot of excuses. So I didn't use 90% of this talk, but hey, maybe another time. So today, I just want to encourage you to make every day Thanksgiving Day. Make every day a day where you live your life with an attitude of gratitude. Namaste. you do is just really focus on bringing your mind and heart together, and you can feel it. I mean, when you find that connection, it is there. It's the best way that I've come to describe it is almost like a feeling of light. Like when you're standing in the sunshine and you can just feel that warmth. And kind of go for that as we move into our meditation. Take a couple of deep breaths. Relax. Allow your body to relax. Any thoughts that come to your mind, just notice them and watch them drift by as a leaf would float down a stream. And from this place of relaxation, bring your focus to your heart space, the space where your mind and heart physically become one with that divine presence and power that is always there, just waiting for us to recognize it. And it is in this place where we are one that we pray from. If you have questions, if you have concerns, if you have stress or worry, you bring those to these places and lay them at the altar and then leave them there. Leave them there and know that there is a presence and power that can do all things. And it is all love. And it will take whatever you give it and make it better. Because there is an answer to every question. In our physical forms, we may not know what that answer is, but we can be open to receiving the answer. We can be aware and take notice of the coincidences that are really God winks, that are really times for us to say, oh, maybe I should pay attention to that. Because there is a presence and power that's going to work for us, is at work for us all the time. So let's take whatever concerns we have and leave them on the altar and sit in the silence and just watch them disappear. Divine Spirit, we know our questions are answered. We may not see the answer today or tomorrow, but we know it is already done. And we just patiently stay aware ready to receive. And we are so grateful. We are so grateful for this knowing, and so grateful for being here today and for giving thanks. Giving thanks not just today, not just on Thanksgiving Day, but every day. Because just as Tony Camilletti sang last week, we have so much to be thankful for. We are thankful for the gift of his life, and we will acknowledge him later this afternoon and every day. We will hear a song and we will think of him, and we will remember him with love. And that is all we can all ask for. And we are so grateful that we know that, and that we have this knowing, and that we are aware of this loving presence living through and as us, always. And so it is. And we all say, Amen. It is now time for tithes and offerings. So this is the time when we give back. This is the time when we give thanks. And we show our thanks by sharing our time, talents, and treasure. And we appreciate, Unity East Church appreciates all the people that come to church, all the people that give of their time so generously. And we appreciate the treasure that you share with us, because that's what helps keep the church going. And we have a few projects that need to get done, and we've done a few things, which is really great. And we've got a great concert coming up in a couple of weeks, 16th of December, I think it is. So that's something to look forward to. So take your gift into your hand. And remember, we've got a little add-on to our prayer, which once we have our TV up here, we can have that. You'll know exactly what it says. Divine love adds me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Joyfully and easily, for the universe is my source, and abundance is my nature. Thank you, thank you, thank you. realize how important the role of the board members is to this church. It's extremely important, and I'm going to honor my notes on this one. Spiritual leaders are often said to have received a calling, like we've received some sort of a sign or something. And there is kind of a spiritual nudge in that direction. I also believe that people who choose to serve on the board have received a calling, because they're giving of their time and talents more than you know. And you need to know as a congregation who these people are. And I want to acknowledge them publicly to all of you so that you can better appreciate all that they do for you as a congregation. And so it is my honor to introduce this year's Board of Directors. And what I'm going to do is I have a little thing that I'm going to read, and then the board member will respond, "I do," and then we'll do each board member so that you know who they are, and that will be their installation, and then we'll close with a prayer. So first, I'd like to introduce our board president, Linda Guy. Linda, do you consecrate yourself to promoting the welfare and growth of Unity East Church and of the entire Unity movement, to follow the principles as set forth by Unity Worldwide Ministries, and to look for and follow the guidance, inspiration, and wisdom available to you from your inner Christ self? If you agree, please respond, "I do."
I do.
Thank you. Jackie, do you consecrate yourself to promoting the welfare and growth of Unity East Church and the entire Unity movement, to follow the principles as set forth by Unity Worldwide Ministries, and to look for and follow the guidance, inspiration, and wisdom available to you from your inner Christ self? Linda Ballard. Sorry, Linda. I know the name, I just wasn't real clear on the positions. Linda, do you consecrate yourself to promoting the welfare and growth of Unity East Church and the entire Unity Worldwide movement, to follow the principles set forth by Unity Worldwide Ministries, and to look for and follow the guidance, inspiration, and wisdom available to you from your inner Christ self?
I do.
Thank you. Carol Shuffles, boy oh boy. Carol, do you consecrate yourself to promoting the welfare and growth of Unity East Church and the Unity Worldwide movement, to follow the principles set forth by Unity Worldwide Ministries, and to follow your own inner guidance, inspiration, and wisdom available to you from your Christ self?
I do.
Next we have Gary Koch. Gary, do you consecrate yourself to promoting the welfare of Unity East Church and the Unity Worldwide movement, to follow the principles as set forth by Unity Worldwide Ministries, and to look for and follow the guidance and inspiration and wisdom available to you through your inner Christ self?
I do.
Connie, do you consecrate yourself to promoting the welfare of Unity East Church and the Unity Worldwide movement, to follow the principles set forth by Unity Worldwide Ministries, and to look for and follow the guidance, inspiration, and wisdom available to you from your inner Christ self. Like to take a moment. We have a new position that was created especially for this individual, because this is a very important individual to the church, and it's called an ex officio, and she's also our office manager, so Betty Fleming. And Betty, do you consecrate yourself to promoting the welfare of you? This is like a redundant question, folks. But do you consecrate yourself to the welfare and growth of Unity East Church and the Unity Worldwide movement, to follow the principles set forth by Unity Worldwide Ministries, and to follow the guidance, inspiration, and wisdom available to you through your inner Christ self?
I do.
Betty said she feels like she's married. Because you know what? These guys are kind of married to Unity East Church. and I want you all to think about, this is a position that after a while, it gets to be a lot, and sometimes they need to step down, they choose to step down. So we need you to be thinking about serving and giving back and giving of your time, talents, and treasures in a more significant way through our board of directors. We really appreciate all of you, and now we are going to pray. Divine beingness, we know we have been brought here by the direction of Spirit. We commit ourselves as ministers and members of the Board of Trustees to this spiritual work. We commit to listening and responding to the inspiration and guidance of our own inner divinity, and we promise to remain open and receptive to the implementation and accomplishment of divine plans to be accomplished through each one of us in Unity East Church and the Unity movement as a whole, both in this area and around the world. And so it is. Amen.
Wherever we are, God is, and all